by a field goal. Saints are favored by a little more than a field goal. I think one of the things we saw this weekend is the regular season really matters in the NFL. In the NBA, the Cavs last year, the Warriors won a Game 7 on the road. In the NBA, you can be awful for the first 2 or 3 games in a series and come back. You get into this NFL right now, and we haven't had a Super Bowl team since 2012 that played a playoff road game. If you look at the last 5 Super Bowls, the seeds have all been 1 seeds or 1 and 2 seeds. And that's buys, at home, being rested. It matters. I thought the Chargers looked gassed. The Colts were a dome team that had to play in lousy weather. I don't think they had any energy. Frankly, I think Philadelphia getting a lead was remarkable, but I think after about the first quarter, they didn't have the same energy. And frankly, Dallas went into Los Angeles, and how sharp did the Rams look? I mean, the Rams' offensive line just mauled the Cowboys' very talented defensive front. So I think one of the things that you can't deny, and it's just out there, is that, the regular season in the NFL, getting home field advantage, getting a bye. New England now is 12-1 in the divisional round. Belichick tends to like veteran teams, give them a couple of weeks off, schematically come in. New England wins 92% of the time when they score first. And we predicted Friday, we said New England's going to look really good early. I don't know what happens late, but they're going to look really good early. And with that, a guy that looks good early or late. He is a 4-time Super Bowl champ. In 2 of those, he was the MVP, a former #1 draft pick, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and one of the guys that helped build this company, Terry Bradshaw. Look at you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Sports coat.
Good morning.
Look at you. You took it seriously.
Not at all. Look, I had a T-shirt on.
I like your professionalism.
And they came and said, you got to wear a coat. And I said, stars don't have to wear a coat. They said, you're not a star.
Well, I just want to start with let's just start. I'll start with the dynasty, New England. Terry, I know age matters. I get it. I get all that. Even though Tom Brady wears, kale pajamas, I get it. That's about as sharp, Terry, as I've seen Tom look. And maybe because of the rest, when you get older, maybe the 2 weeks matter. But Lordy, that's as good as I've seen Tom look, right?
It was impressive. It was awfully impressive. It wasn't the 4-touchdown, 400-yard game, but he still had 1 touchdown and over 300 yards, and was just from the very beginning of the game, he was just sharp right off the bat. The touchdown pass in the corner, second quarter, was just a beautiful throw. And it seems like, and I know America's tired of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I played in the 70s, people hated. They got tired. They get tired of you. I get that, but we have to respect and you have to applaud the job they do and the fact that that this time of year they're relevant. When you think they're not, they are. And now they go to Kansas City, and I just ran into a guy in the elevator, big Chiefs fan, and he says, well, we got them where we want them. I said, oh, really? You think you do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Belichick has a history of making life a little uncomfortable for young quarterbacks.
Right.
And Mahomes is still a puppy. Now, he's great, but he's still a young guy. You know what? They have 12 draft picks, New England does this year. So they're going to reload a little bit. They're going to be fine. I will say this, though. As you age, you can still be great. Kobe had 60 points in his last game, but it takes a little longer. Like I thought, I said this before the game. New England's a team. Brady's a player. Bye weeks are good for him. I don't know if you can you duplicate that now in a shorter week?
Let me just
go back to your career.
Let me just disagree just a little bit.
Okay.
Because, excuse me, I think as a quarterback, speaking only as a quarterback, when you've played for such a long time, you are so comfortable. Okay?
Yeah.
There's very little you haven't seen, and seen a lot. And so when you get into games such as yesterday's against the Chargers, Tom's just comfortable. He's comfortable. He never has been a great athlete.
Yeah.
but he is smart. He's comfortable, and all of those years of experience, there's no need for age to be a problem. He never has had a cannon of an arm, but he has a very good arm, and he's kind of a shoulder thrower, you know, and so you can just keep slinging it. I disagree. There's guys like maybe Cam Newton who run a lot, are physically going to get beat up. Guys that do scramble a lot, the kid down in Houston, they're going to get beat up. You're going to get beat up. Michael Vick got beat up running. That's what slows you down. As long as you have your legs, you're fine as a quarterback, and they always protect you. They give you a pocket.
Yeah, that's what Marino lost. Marino lost the legs, not the arm.
Right.
I have a friend, Drew Bledsoe. Drew's like, I can still throw it.
Yes.
But my legs are gone.
Yes. You have to stay in shape. I'm probably at 70 stronger than I was at 40, easily, because I work out so hard with my legs. I've never done that before. Back when I played, we didn't lift. We didn't do anything. But now I'm stronger in my legs so that when I go walk in the volcanoes in Hawaii and everything, my lungs might get to my legs, don't get tired. So I work out with my legs. So your legs can be the first thing to go for sure. That arm is always there. Always there. I don't see a passer losing his strength in his arm from the day he starts playing unless he gets hurt.
And by the way, Tom has always been a very good cold weather thrower.
Yeah.
Because he's played at Michigan, he played here, and he also his torque. So Tom going to Kansas City in bad weather is no advantage for anybody other than Tom's been in that kind of crappy weather his whole career.
And the crowds. Have you ever figured out, I wish some psychologist would come on this show one day and say, why are we better at home than we are on the road? It's got to be what? Psychological.
It has to be.
They don't make a tackle. Those crowds don't make a tackle. They boo you. They don't like you. But what if you're prepared and ready to play and you're of sound mind, you should play well. So why, you ever figured it out?
Well, I think some of it's harder to audible on the road. By the way, if you travel in back-to-back weeks, historically, you're a little worn out physically.
That's what happened with the Chargers, too. Going East Coast, West Coast, again. East Coast, West Coast. I almost wish that probably if they'd have stayed on the East Coast, maybe go down to Florida or something, instead of going all the way back across the country.
I thought it affected.
Because we got trade winds right now over 100 miles an hour. That wasn't a short flight coming back from Baltimore.
You're smart. You think of everything. You even think of the trade winds. I've never had a guy on the show think of the trade winds.
Well, thank you. I've never had smart applied to me, but I do appreciate it.
So let's go. So we talked New England. Let's go into the team they'll play, because I'm going to hold you over and have you do NFC stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't listen. Luck, and this is no excuse. Mahomes was the better of the two. Andrew looked off. He's a dome quarterback. I like Kansas City to win the game anyway. I thought his ball floated. I just thought Andrew didn't look tight. I just thought he was off.
When the game started, the very first pass, remember the very first pass? It was like 6 yards and it hit the ground. And I turned to Jimmy and I said, he must be having trouble controlling the football. Must be slippery, or his hands are frozen on top, so you don't have the elasticity in the top of your hands.
Sure.
And he didn't have gloves on. Like a lot of these guys. Phillip Rivers wore gloves yesterday.
Yeah. Tom
had one on his left. Did Tom have a right glove on? I can't remember.
I don't think he did.
Okay, but I said, wow, so what's with that pass? It was not, his first half was not luck-like.
No,
at all.
Chris Sims on the pregame show, give Chris Sims, Phil's son, he said in the pregame show, he goes, I just want to add this, Mahomes looks way more comfortable in pregame than Luck does. Now, again, that's not an excuse. I thought Andrew, that's as bad as I've seen him play.
Right. He did start playing well. But what also happened, they didn't protect him as well as they had been all year long. And Kansas City, someone's just slapped me crazy right now. But where did that defense come from?
Well, Chris Jones up front is an emerging player. We know D Ford can play, but Terry, this Chris Jones kid,
he's real.
He's a real player.
Yeah, but that was not a great defense all year long by Kansas City, and all of a sudden they were a dominant defense against the Colts, which was very surprising. I know they're at home. I know they got into the crowd, and I know the weather was bad. Once again, though, you got to step up. I was somewhat, well, I wasn't somewhat. I was extremely surprised by how great their defense played.
Yeah, no, it pushed the Colts around.
All over the place.
The whole field.
All over the place.